Blessings BookTube. Today I would like to discuss with you The Affair by C.P. Snow. This is going to be a very quick discussion as I can't form an opinion, or I don't have a particularly insightful reading to make of this beyond what I think most of you would get yourselves. If I want to be generous, I could say this is a mystery about a communist professor who gets blackballed for academic fraud. That's very much in the news these days. And the attempt to exonerate him, possibly by finding the real culprit, or at least pointing in that direction. The cast of suspects, if I'm being generous then, is this group of academics in a very Oxbridge environment. Which brings me to my less generous reading, which is, to be fair, the more honest reading, which is that this is an administrative, not human rights, human resources issue involving repeated committee meetings and the sort of deal making behind the scenes of those committee makings, but in a very dry, academic, understated sort of tone. So if you find sitting on long faculty meetings engaging, this is right up your alley. If not, you're going to try to hew more to that first interpretation that I gave of the book, which, in honesty, all those elements are there. But, the communist, he's very off-scene. You'd think he'd be the one injecting lots of emotion, but it's actually his wife who's really sort of pushy. As pushy as any really staid Brit in an academic context gets. The communist is sort of just resentful, sort of keeps his peace. So that's the character we're supposed to care about. The narrator who's co-opted into representing him doesn't much care for him, but believes in his innocence. He's sort of retired from the academic field, but very much an old boy. So they're constantly having port and sherry together and those sorts of things, and sort of half discussing the issues and half not discussing the issues. And you can imagine how exciting the other conversations in these contexts might be. There are people who are retired and people who are so old they should soon or should already have been retired. There's one sort of courageous fellow who sacrifices some of his own career advancement possibilities for the sake of what he considers the right thing here. But even that character is sort of hard to get excited about. Again, none of them get any personal life or any real development outside of this one issue. There's also a sort of subplot where they're going to be electing a new master soon. So there's the other politics that are being considered at the same time as this issue of this possibly reinstating this professor. And yet no one doubts that fraud was committed, which is a problem. At the same time, people are, setting themselves up for this race, this it's not even really much of a race to see who the next master is. Again, it's very British, very Oxbridge. It's sort of understood who the next person should be, and but one mustn't go too far in anything, certainly anything that would taint the image of Oxbridge. That this affair mustn't get out, right? It must be handled in house. Um, so you sort of can guess. I mean, anticipate how much of these things are going to play out in the end. Certainly for me, there were no big surprises. The end was still vaguely satisfying. The funny thing about this book is, I'm sure I've somehow conveyed to you that it shouldn't be a very likable book, and yet I liked it, and I'm not sure why. I like Snow. I think I'd like to read another book of his. Um, I also have to admit that I am a fan of the campus novel. I like the funnier ones, of course, but I have a higher tolerance, I think, for academic committees than most people. So there is that as well. So there you go. That's C.P. Snow's The Affair. It's also quite short, easy, fast read. Make of it what you will. I'm sorry I don't have a more insightful reading. I usually try to find some through line for you guys to get something out of something, even if it's just a small aspect of the book. But nothing really jumped out here. So what can I tell you? I can't win them all. I do my best. All right. Thank you very much. We'll talk again soon.